Welcome to Mother Daughter Projects. I'm Steph.
I'm Vicki.
And today we're going to share how I finally learned why my house was leaking. So within 2 days, I had 2 pipe leaks and ultimately learned that my pressure regulator had failed. So today we're going to share some tips on how to find a leak fast at your house, how to check your water pressure, and how to look for signs before you have pipe leaks.
So this all started when Steph was outside doing a little yard work and noticed in this front flower bed that there was standing water. Well, we didn't think too much of that because we had had a lot of rain previously, and there is a downspout right here, and we just thought the water was just draining into this area, and the ground was so saturated that it just wasn't absorbing the water anymore. So we used our Ryobi water pump to try to pump it out, but you know what? The water just came right back. So we started digging around,
but not fast enough where it seemed like it was replenishing itself. To be clear,
yes,
it wasn't like immediately.
Yeah.
It still seemed like, oh, it's just holding water.
Well, and it just seemed like it still was just draining from the soil.
Yeah.
So we started digging it out and redirecting the water, and sure enough, nothing was happening. But we dug out far enough that we discovered this little bubbling geyser of water, and we knew right then and there that there was a leak.
So I turned off the water to the house, and lo and behold, the water stopped. So there was obviously a leak, needed to call a plumber, and this happened to be a Sunday, shocker.
Always a weekend.
Yes. So we called a plumber and let them know that we didn't need them today, but Monday would be great. And so I just left the water off to my house for 24 hours, and I filled up a camping container that I have with water at Mom's house, so I had drinking water and water to wash my hands. And then for the toilets, I just used went to my neighbor's house with permission, and I filled up a bucket, and I poured that bucket into my toilet, the back of the toilet, to be able to flush the toilet. So I was able to handle having no water for about 24 hours pretty easily.
So the plumbers came out bright and early Monday morning, and they dug down, and they dug down pretty deep, and we were very happy we didn't try to dig ourselves and see how far down that was. And there are lots of roots around here, and they did discover a root near that leak, and they really felt like that's what was causing the problem. So they fixed it, they covered up, and we're done. But there's more.
So the next morning, I go out and I see more standing water, not right over where the leak was before, but over to the side. So I assumed it was probably a new leak. So I dig out a little bit, I see some active water, and turn off the water to the house and do everything all over again. So the next day, the plumber came out and discovered this leak. This was even closer to the boxwoods that are in front of this planter, and he says that they have a lot of roots, and he assumed that that's what caused the issue. And as he was fixing, I was explaining how I thought it was so weird that I had 2 pipe leaks so soon at the same time. And so then he decided when he was done to check the pressure coming into my house, and he discovered that it was 85 and it should be between 40 and 60. So he discovered that the pressure was too high, and that's what was causing the leaks. And so he scheduled a time to come the next week to install a new pressure regulator.
As it turned out, Steph was out of town when they came to do that, which wasn't a problem. So they actually dug that out, and it's pretty deep into the ground. And sure enough, you could see where all the corrosion and everything where, it obviously had failed. Don't know how long it's been, but Steph's been in this house 11 years and she's never replaced it. So they replaced it, and they put the new one in, and they checked the pressure, and by golly, it was where it needed to be.
And the regulator basically is connected right near your meter, and so the water comes into your meter, and then the regulator will adjust that pressure coming into your house. And because that had failed, the pressure was just getting higher and higher over time.
And I will point out that after they finished, I did go in and get a drink of water once the water was turned back on, and it did taste like the way that the glue smells. So if you're having something like this done, it's a good idea to go ahead and let the water run for a while to get that cleared out of the system.
What we learned. Now, there was a lot of learns in this, and things I want to share so that if this happens to you, you hopefully will be able to fix this quicker than I did. Now, all in all, this was 3 plumber visits, and this cost about $840 here in Tallahassee, Florida. So the first thing that I learned was how to find a leak pretty quickly. If you're noticing any kind of standing water or any kind of issues, if you look at your meter, there's this little dial on there that the plumber told us about. And if everything's turned off in the house, no water's running, if that's moving any little bit, then there is a leak somewhere, and that's a good time to call a plumber to discover what's going on.
Another thing you can do is to check your water usage online. And in Tallahassee, they do have an app where you can do that. You can see it daily. And it was very obvious that her water went along, and all of a sudden there was a spike. So that was a good indicator that there was a leak happening.
Also, if you see any kind of standing water in your house, even if you think it's something else, just turn the water off just to check, because that would have saved us a whole day of digging stuff out.
It really would have. I don't know why we didn't do that, but we just assumed that this is what it was, but obviously it was not.
Yes. So the way that I turn off the water to my house is I have a meter here in the ground, and I take the whole cover off, and there's just a little switch right here that I can turn to the side, and the water will be completely off to the house. And it's a good idea once a year to check the water pressure at your house. So you can get a pressure gauge, about $10. All you do is thread it onto your spigot outside, turn it all the way on, and it will tell you the pressure at your house. You can see mine is a little over 60, but the plumbers did set this, so I think we're where we need to be. You want to test this because too low of water pressure can also be an issue. It can make doing everyday tasks frustrating and can indicate some underlying plumbing issues. And obviously the water pressure is too high. It can cause leaks in plumbing, which I had, and it can cause some issues with washers and dishwashers. Now that I think about it, about a week or two before this issue, I noticed my washer was making a loud noise. And it's an older washer, so I thought, well, maybe I'm gonna need a new one soon. But ultimately, if your pressure is too high to your house, it can damage washers and dishwasher and things like that. So now that it's regulated back down, the pressure's down, I haven't heard that noise. So definitely, if you're noticing any changes in any kind of appliances, in the pressure coming out of the faucets, that's an indication that your pressure might be too high.
One of the things we would recommend is to research plumbers before you need one and have those numbers on hand when you have an emergency.
And we've put together a free PDF for all the emergency numbers you might need: electricians, HVAC, garage doors, all the things. So you can download that for free right here on our website, and that's a good thing to just have all that research done ahead of time. And we personally have used this many times. All right, well, thanks for joining. If you want to see more projects from us, be sure to visit us at motherdaughterprojects.com. Thanks for joining. Bye.
Bye.
And if you want to see how to turn off water, gas, open your garage door when the power is off, you can check out this video right here.